So it wasn't so long ago that when the rest of the world had already discovered basically Spotify and was getting all its music from there, which is still the case, right, mainly, DJs had no such option. No DJ hardware, no DJ software had any streaming option at all. If you wanted to DJ, you had to get the music files, you had to have them on the same computer, or you had to have them on a USB drive, having downloaded them or bought them or ripped them. That was it, end of story. Of course, now things have changed a lot. In just the last year, we've seen Spotify, Apple Music, and they're in addition to the more specialist services that have been in DJ software a bit longer, such as Beatport and Tidal. All of these are available on DJ software and a lot of DJ hardware, and more are arriving all the time. Amazon Music Unlimited is another one that has started to arrive on DJ gear in recent times. So with all these streaming services available, finally, to DJs, it does raise a question, and it's one we get asked a lot as a DJ school. Why do DJs care about owning music at all? And it's a good question, because if you're a casual DJ, if you're a fun, party DJ who just likes to do it at home for a bit of a hobby, for a bit of an unwind, look, there's no reason at all to own music. If you're super casual about all of this, you can have a lot of fun messing around with your playlists and with any streaming service that I just mentioned. Will plug into, say, Algorithm's DJ Pro app, which is available on phones and iPads and laptops and everything, right? You don't need to worry about any of the hoops you have to jump through to get music, buy music, download music, organize music, get it in folders, get it onto the thing that you're going to be playing from, and so on and so on. You don't have to. But as soon as you start to take this seriously, and especially as soon as you start playing in public and maybe getting paid for this, everything changes. And so in this lesson, I'm going to talk you through the 5 reasons why, as a semi-pro, serious hobby DJ, just someone who is taking this a little bit more seriously than a super casual DJ, it really is important that you own the music that matters to you. So let's start at the beginning. Number 1, obvious, no service has all the world's music on it. As a DJ, part of what we want is access to all the world's music. Back in the days of vinyl, crate digging, heading around all the music stores and searching online for rare records and any other way that you could find of getting what you wanted was part of the game. The idea that you would only go to one place for that is madness. And even today, even with streaming services saying 100 million plus songs, it doesn't take long to spot the gaps. So unless you want to subscribe to every streaming service there is in order to cover everything, and still accept that there's going to be gaps in your collection because not everything is on the streaming services, then a streaming service as your sole way of getting music is not going to cut it. So the second reason is that tracks, releases, whole albums, even whole artists regularly disappear from streaming services. Now, guess what? They're not going to tell you that, but it happens. And if you don't believe me, here's a little experiment you can try. Go into your streaming service of choice. Go grab a couple of 100 tracks, like a dance compilation or whatever music you're into. Grab a couple of 100 tracks that you like that are reasonably current. Put them in a playlist and just wait. Set something on your phone for a few weeks' time and come back and have a look at that playlist. And I can pretty much guarantee you that they won't all be available. Some of them will say unavailable, they'll be grayed out and so on. Because the streaming services license the music, and there's a complex web of things that goes on to make sure that track is available to you and that artist and that release. And contracts expire. Artists have their own views on this thing. Artists pull their music from streaming services. Streaming services have exclusives in order to appear exclusive and to make you want to use their service, and others don't get those records. So look, there's no such thing as a track remaining permanently forever in any way that you can guarantee on a streaming service. If you're a DJ, your music is right here. You don't want anyone taking it away from you. Back in the vinyl days, a couple had split up. The DJ's record collection would be out onto the front lawn, smashed up in a dastardly act of revenge, and it could be, it could feel like the end of your life. I'm not speaking from personal experience. But look, you know what I'm saying. Your music is sacrosanct. If you've got a track, you want to know that you've got that track for life, right? This is emotion we're talking about here. It's art. It's love. It's not something that you want to just not be there next time you come to it. So number 3, Streaming services, when integrating with DJ software and DJ platforms, have fewer features available to you than if you are integrating with your own music. Because DJ software likes to pre-analyze music, which gives it important information like the BPM or the tempo, the key, the beat grid. Sometimes it can analyze for stems, so you can separate the a cappella from the instrumental and other stuff. All of this relies on the DJ platform seeing that song before you want to play it. So the problem with streaming services is that if you're logged onto a streaming service and you say, oh, I want to now play this, and you download it, the system either has to do a lot of that analysis straight away, or it hasn't got that information. So it's a bit annoying, but ultimately a DJ setup nowadays can quickly tell you the key of a track and generally get the beats right and so on. But one thing it really can't do if it hasn't seen the tracks before is allow you to sort them out and search for them. So if you want to have a playlist where you can quickly find what you want, where you know that the beat grids are correct so that when you hit that sync button or when you hit the loop button, everything is definitely going to work properly. And as you browse through your music, you want to see the keys, you want to see the BPMs and so on, then a streaming service will not cut it for you. Some of them are starting to get some of these features. For instance, some of the specialist services will give you the musical key and the BPM. But ultimately, there's lots that you can do to your music ahead of time if you own it. Cue points, loops, and all that kind of stuff that you just don't get the chance to do with streaming services. So it's definitely worth remembering your options in the software will be limited with a streaming service. There's still software that will only let you have one streaming service. Even though it's got access to lots of them, you have to choose up front which one you're going to use. Which again, back to this idea that not all the services have everything on them, is not ideal, right? So there's always going to be limitations with streaming services. You can't record either. It's another limitation because of the licensing. So you want to hit record in that software, you're going to have to find a convoluted workaround to do it. So another reason, and I've left this one to near the end because even though it's very obvious, it is kind of important, the internet. The internet is becoming more stable now in pretty much everywhere we go, right? If you're at a big football game, you might struggle to get a signal on your phone because everyone's doing the same thing. Same thing happens in nightclubs. So the problem is that where you need it the most, sending a picture of the latest goal from the football game or getting Wi-Fi so you can stream a song in your DJ sets, is the places it's most likely to let you down. So while it is becoming more reliable and while the best DJ booths have proper wired high-speed internet and so there's no problem, this isn't something that you should be relying on for your DJing, because how bad does it look when you turn up to a gig and you can't play any of your music? Some of the streaming services, in conjunction with some of the hardware and software platforms, lets you have what they call an offline cache or an offline cache, where you can take a playlist that you've planned that you think you want to play and put it in a kind of protected place on the DJ equipment where you're not allowed to copy those songs or do anything with them, but they are always there without the internet, which is quite nice, but it's more stuff that you've got to think about ahead of time. And of course, the spontaneity of just being able to go and search for stuff and so on is not there. So relying on the internet for all your music all the time, probably still not the best bet. But the fifth one, right, and I think this is quite relevant now as people start to get a little bit wary of the power of big platforms and start to think, why am I paying all these subscriptions for everything? Why, where's this sense that the stuff that's important to me should be mine gone? Is that you've got single vendor lock-in, or if you've got more than one streaming service, you've got limited vendor lock-in. You're relying on one or two companies for something that's actually very important to you. The price of your subscription could and does change, and it never goes down, does it? The features that are available to you do change, and they might not change in your favour. DJs are not the most important group of people that these platforms service. If something changes that's going to mean most of their users find it really, really good, then it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good for us, our kind of niche specialist use case at the edge of what these platforms offer. There's shifts in business. We've already seen, for instance, Spotify is shifting into video podcasts and audio podcasts and so on. And I'm sure there'll be other media starting to appear on these platforms as well. So does audio stay a priority? I'm not saying it won't, but we don't know this, right? Again, there's the uncertainty here of locking yourself in with someone else's business plan for your music, for your DJing. And whole services do disappear. In a very dark day for the early adopters of streaming, a service called Pulse disappeared and left all the people who'd subscribed to it really high and dry, with all the work they'd done on their music, all their playlists in Pulse and everything else completely useless from there on in. And a little fact is that Pulse was actually bought by Beatport and became their streaming platform. But anyway, that's another story. The point is that these services don't always last forever. If you had to bet your house on Tidal still being here this time next year, would you? I mean, I hope nothing happens to them. They do a good service for DJs, but they're about 0.3% of the streaming world is subscribed to Tidal. Is that sustainable? Well, I don't know. But if I was a Tidal user and that was the only way I was getting music into my DJ software, I'd probably be a bit worried. So look, for all these reasons, it's a bad idea to only stream music if you're anything more than a casual DJ. Here at Digital DJ Tips, we have a simple rule that we share with our students. You should, and it's absolutely fine to, stream the music you like, but own the music you love. And that way you're going to get the best of both worlds. Streaming services are brilliant. They're a brilliant way to discover music. They're a brilliant way to have background music on. They're a brilliant way to discover what other DJs are doing by listening into their playlist. There's so much good in having a streaming service subscription, and I absolutely recommend that you do so as a DJ. Part of your job as a DJ, as we teach in the book, when we talk about our playlist pyramid, we made a video recently about the playlist pyramid, so go take a look for that. Part of what we teach is that in order to be a good DJ, you need to hear more music than other people. And in order to do that, you better have a good way of listening to it with zero friction. A streaming service really gives you that. But it's not something that you should be relying on for everything, and certainly not for public performances and times when you're being paid for your DJing. That's the time when you know that songs are things that you love and that you want long term, that you should definitely be owning them. So, where do DJs get their music from? How do you organise your music when you've got it? Where does it live on your computer? How do you arrange it and tag it and get it ready so that it's at your fingertips when you need it in your DJing? How do you pack crates for DJing? How do you use playlists to make life easier? All of these things are covered in the music section of our book, Rock the Dance Floor, the most popular book out there on how to DJ the modern way. Now, this book's on Kindle, Amazon, audiobook. You can get it in all good bookstores, but I'd like you to own a copy of this book for free on us. So you can get your copy of this book by going to this QR code or typing in that URL. From there, you can join Digital DJ Tips, the world's favourite DJ school, as our latest free member. So it won't cost you anything, and the book is our thank you for becoming a member of our community. So go do that now. Do let me know if you've got any questions about streaming services in DJing. We're here to help. Just ask underneath. But meanwhile, from me, Phil, here in the studio, get good, get out there, make the moments, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.